yellow, or black, fans like to say. My bad. Finally, Rodgers agreed to terms on a one-year deal with the Steelers. The team announced that Thursday, ending months of uncertainty around his future and uniting the future Hall of Famer with a club that desperately needed a quarterback. If you heard Stephen A. at all, sources telling our Adam Schefter that Rodgers plans to fly to Pittsburgh today, join the Steelers ahead of next week's mandatory mini camp. This was SA, in case you didn't know, he's a Steelers fan. His reaction yesterday on SportsCenter.
I feel great. Listen, do you understand that the last 2 years of Big Ben Roethlisberger, God bless him, Hall of Famer, we love him, 2 Super Bowl titles, we love Big Ben Roethlisberger, but we wanted him gone, okay, because he was clearly done. And since that time, what have you had if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? I mean, they gave you reasons to question whether a quarterback position should exist. Aaron Rodgers, you heard it from your boy, Stephen A. Yes, you are a bad man. No matter what they tell you, you still got a little something left, and it's going to be better than anything that we've seen in recent memory from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
RC, yeah, obviously your boy's fired up. I love that shirt. Here's what I want to know from you. Objectively, do you feel like Steeler Nation should be excited about Rodgers? And when I'm asking you that, I mean, like, can he really still deliver on the field for this team?
First off, forget objectively. Let's give a hand to Creflo Dollar Stephen A. Smith for that suit he had on last night, man. I mean, shoot, he brought me to Easter Sunday, boy. Okay. But, you know, I think...
I was pretty fly. I was pretty fly, man.
This is a difficult question to answer because of this, though, Molly. When you think about Pittsburgh Steelers fans being excited, what has been their problem the last few years? Or what has been the thing that they've lamented? It's been the fact that they can't win playoff games. The fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't contending for Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers doesn't make this team a Super Bowl contender. Aaron Rodgers, if he plays the best I feel he can at 41, is still the third best quarterback in the AFC North behind Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Does he allow this team to compete at a higher level than they would have with Mason Rudolph? Absolutely. But does this team become a Super Bowl contender? No. Does this team hoist the sticky Lombardi? No. So if you take Aaron Rodgers, which they should have, this is the right decision for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have to have a plan for next year. One, you don't know how healthy he'll be. You don't know how well he'll play or how long he'll play. This is to contend this year because Mike Tomlin is allergic to losing. But this is not a long-term fix, and this does not make them a Super Bowl team.
Well, Ryan, I get where you're coming from, man, and I don't disagree with you, but I'm going to clarify. Molly asked you the wrong R word because you know what? I mean, the word I've had in my mind is relieved. Because you were asking me as a Steeler fan to walk into a season with the quarterback room being Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard out of Ohio State. That's what you were asking me to do. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. At least I know we got a real quarterback up in there. Now, listen, for those that want to sit up there and engage in condemnation about Aaron Rodgers, I would like to remind everybody the brother did throw 28 touchdowns last year. He did throw for nearly 4,000 yards. It was a bad season for sure, record-wise, and it certainly was a bad season by his standards. But we also have to take into account the job that Woody Johnson, as owner, did of the New York Jets when he rolled up in there after being an ambassador to the UK for the United States under the Trump administration years ago. He comes back into the mix, and what does he want to do? He want to fire cats on the spot. He gets rid of Robert Saleh, okay? Thank God he got rid of Nathaniel Hackett, but you elevate your coach to interim status, and everything was haphazard. Your defense was compromised, your offense was compromised, your continuity was compromised. So we got to look at that wrecking ball that was the New York Jets and try to not judge that in totality to explain what we saw with Aaron Rodgers, even though he's culpable, especially since Nathaniel Hackett was there, because he had no business being there to begin with. Having said all of that, here's what we have with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a voice and a face of a franchise in Mike Tomlin. if I remember, I saw Harry Douglas earlier this morning on Get Up talking about when Aaron Rodgers first came into the league. Mike McCarthy was in his 3rd year as a coach. When he went to the New York Jets, Robert Saleh was in his 3rd year as a coach. This is the first time he's had an experienced veteran as a coach walking into a situation, and obviously that coach is a preeminent voice in the National Football League. Arthur Smith is a respected offensive coordinator who doesn't have to pacify and coddle quarterbacks because they're young, they're inexperienced, they're not ready. Or in the case of Russell Wilson, you're trying to resurrect your career. You got a season. It's not ideal. I get it. But I'm not going to call it a crime because you don't have somebody better than Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. I got news for you. Outside of Kansas City and maybe Buffalo, who does have somebody better than Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson? So I'm looking at it from that standpoint, and I'm saying, does this give the Steelers a chance? Does it give Metcalf a chance to have some passes caught? Calvin Austin III. How about Warren running with the football? How about Freiermuth catching the football as a tight end, being the big target that he is? I am relieved because at least I have a quarterback who I believe Aaron Rodgers is still.
Yeah, but you're settling though, Stephen A. Smith, and I think that's the big problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? We tried to get Matthew Stafford, we couldn't get Matthew Stafford. We tried to re-sign Justin Fields, we couldn't re-sign Justin Fields. And so once all of the things that we wanted fell out of place, we got to land on Aaron Rodgers. And this is not for me to be negative about Aaron Rodgers because I believe he's the best option now. I still think he can play. If you go cut on that Jacksonville tape from last year late in the season, you cut on that Miami tape last year from late in the season, you're looking at a quarterback that can still flat out spin it. You're looking at a quarterback who understands where the football needs to go. But you're not talking about the quarterback from even 6 years ago, from 5 years ago. And it feels like we forget that when he was the best quarterback playing football, he still only went to 1 Super Bowl. We have one of the greatest coaches of this era. He's settling.
Yeah, that's exactly. Stephen A., Stephen A., you're taking less, you're watering down your dreams, and you're really settling right now. And I expect more from you.
Look, damn it. Sometimes you got to settle. Sometimes you got to settle a little bit to be happy, okay? Sometimes you got to do it. You can't have it all, at least initially, right? Sometimes you got to have something that allows you. Y'all ain't doing this to me today. Y'all ain't doing this to me today. Let me tell you something right now.
Stephen
A., this is off-brand for you right now.
Hold on, guys. I never thought in my life I would spend any inordinate amount of time thinking about Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. That is what I have been stuck with over the last few months, okay? Finally, I was wondering, how the hell we gonna throw the football, okay? And then you gotta remember this too. I'm also thinking about the Steelers as an organization. You're Omar Khan, you're Mike Tomlin. Yo, fellas, Big Ben Roethlisberger been gone about 4 years now. He was ready to go 2 years before that. You had about 6 damn years to find a quarterback, okay? You know, him and Kevin Colbert before him. What's up? How come you can't find a damn quarterback? How come you can't get one in free agency? So with all of this stuff going on, and clearly there appears to be no explanation as to why that is the case, I got to look at this situation and say, at least we're going to be able to throw the football. At least we ain't going to have somebody throwing 25 interceptions.
I don't believe, you know what, Stephen A.?